The Heat Live postgame presented by Verizon comes from the Happy Kaseya Center here in downtown Miami. The Heat had a 20-point lead early in the third quarter, then had to come from behind and beat the Suns 127-121. A game so good you could probably sit down and watch it all over again. Here's what's coming up for you on tonight's Heat Live postgame show. Verizon brings it to you. You'll hear from Heat head coach Erik Spoelstra. Huge relief for the Heat to end their three-game losing streak as they begin this challenging three-game homestand. Amy Audibert and John Crotty will break it down like only they can. We'll also take you right into the winning locker room tonight. They hear from the Heat players. There was so much involved in tonight's game. We welcome you back, John Crotty, and yours truly, Eric Reed. John, one of the things I said early on tonight, the team that wins the turnover battle will probably win the game. Sure. Miami won it by slim margin, but they forced 24 points off turnovers. They gave up just 18 points off turnovers. I think Miami's now 19-6 when they win that particular battle. But, John, this was thick with so much good stuff. Bam scoring 13 in a row at one point in the fourth quarter. But I know you're fancy about Jaime Jaquez Jr., who steadied the ship when Davion Mitchell went out with a shoulder injury. Jaquez took over that point forward role, and he played terrific.
It's underrated what he does coming off the bench more often than not. He's the primary ball handler. He had to shift gears and do that with the starters. He was just outstanding. There's Davion. He took that shot running into Big Mark Williams on that shoulder, but it was Jaquez Jr. who really got into the paint, was creating shots. Everything he threw during that one stretch of the fourth quarter was finding open shooters, and Bam was more often than not the recipient, knocking down shots. But so was Norman Powell as he got inside. Here's Bam once again converting, and what a big night Bam had. So happy for him the way he erupted inside and out. But Jaime really just was masterful at getting in the paint. There's the cut from Norman Powell, and then another one in the corner, and Norman lets it rip the three.
So Norman Powell had a good game scoring with 27 points on 10 of 18 shooting, but it was Jaime Jaquez Jr. that stole the show with his playmaking, 52% shooting, only 12 turnovers. They win that turnover battle, and they win the fast break points battle. Let's get back to Jaime Jaquez Jr. for a moment. 5 of his 8 assists came in the fourth quarter, and those 8 assists came without a single turnover. Jaime Jaquez Jr., that's a job well done. And he joins Kelly Sacco outside the Heat locker room.
Thanks so much, Jax. After scoring 71 in the first half, the Suns were able to battle back. Jaime, what were you guys able to do there in the fourth to come up with a victory?
Just dig deep, something that we've been talking about for a while. We didn't come out that third quarter the way we wanted, but we know it's a long game, and it's something that we've been talking about. We wanted to finish games, especially getting them close in that fourth quarter. Went in, it was tied, and we just dug deep and made some plays. Bam, was huge for us tonight, made some big shots, and got a win.
What does that say about the character of your team?
We just got resilience, We didn't like the way we went through that road trip. So coming back home, we wanted to protect home court. And we got a lot of guys with a lot of strength mentally. We understand it's a long season. We understand how good of a team we can be. We just got to bring that every single night.
You mentioned Bam, 13 fourth quarter points. How was he able to help propel you guys to this victory here tonight?
Man, so many ways. On the defensive end, offensive end. He's our engine. He's the heart of this team. And just so happy to have him have a game like that. He was due for one of these games. Just the way he was able to get some of those deflections, get us going. He just made so many big plays down the stretch.
Jaime, before we let you go, how can a win like this help you guys as you continue this homestand with a couple more games left?
It's great. I think it builds a lot of confidence. Understanding we can be this team. We just got to bring it every single night. And we got to understand that it's hard. It's hard to bring this every single night, but we're very capable of doing it. So going down the stretch, we want to bring this energy, bring this collective grit and toughness every single night.
Jaime, thanks for the time. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Back to you guys.
All right. Thank you, Kelly. The Suns are a very hungry team. They're a very good team. They stayed in the game. They had 18 offensive rebounds in this game. But ultimately, John, the Heat overcame, and they achieved and deserved this meaningful victory.
Something I think to point out, which is really important, we have not seen Norman Powell, Tyler Herro play together often. And I thought this was one of the best games that we've seen them fully integrated with Bam, completely healthy as a group. And you see the dynamic scoring ability that this team has when they can play the defense that they're capable of as a top 3 defensive rated team and play with speed and quickness, and they can really score the basketball. And Bam, how important is Bam? He's vitally important. He's got to be a threat offensively, and his shot making again, and his gutty performance there in the fourth was so important.
Yeah, it was great. He'd get their 21st win in game number 40. It was a great game to watch, and Jackson Amy, an even greater game for the Heat to win.
Amen to that. Right on time, felt right, and had to have it. Didn't want to get to 4 straight losses. Gentlemen, we'll talk to you on the next time we're in this building when the Celtics are here with us. Amy Adebayo, how are you?
Oh,
how you feeling?
I always
pre-game, halftime, call the game, post-game, all the time.
Well, thankfully, it was a lot of great stuff tonight, right? And not just because obviously a Heat win, but just the game. It was a great basketball game. It was highly competitive. It's what you want when you have to respond. Like, you want to earn it. You want to fight for it. I thought it had so many elements that were great for the Miami Heat.
Wasn't it awesome to hear Jaime Jaquez Jr. talk about his captain, knowing full well that it's been 2 handfuls of games with him not being able to score like this, but right when the team needed it most, on the brink of things, he was there the entire game, impacting things everywhere.
Yeah, and that was the big thing, Jax. I thought, I know the end, and that's what wins the game for you, but I thought the beginning of the game was equally as important for Bam Adebayo, the way he came out and responded to a tough week for him and his team, right? I mean, but it was the way he did it. He was so aggressive and assertive about getting to his spots. That is not easy work over an athletic rim protector in Mark Williams, but Bam Adebayo played 10 seconds more than what Mark Williams. So the staff did an excellent job of also trying to match their minutes because of how much energy is required to try to contain that man on the other end. And look at the patience, the composure. That doesn't look like a guy who's desperate or frantic, right? That looks like a guy who's confident in his work because he does it every day. He was so aggressive on defense. The 13 points from Bam, big time down the stretch. But Jack said the 35 points in that fourth quarter, 11 of them were off turnovers. Who anchors your defense? Which defense was huge late game, right? So Bam on both sides of the ball, going 4 for 6 from long range is so important for this offense, because when you start actually treating him like a 3-point threat and respecting him, that creates so much more room for everybody else he's playing around. This was an excellent game for the entire team, but equally for Bam.
That's what Bam's been going through right there the last 7 games tonight. Just fantastic. Look at the accuracy. Look at the still out there Borden. And still had time to set up others as well. That fourth quarter, fantastic. The good Greek moves of the game brought to you by our captain. Eric Spoelstra will be on TV when we come back. You think he'll have some things to say about 13? You ain't got to guess. It'll be the post-game press conference starring Eric Spoelstra next.
Norm obviously spoke before the game about kind of this past road trip, those third quarters kind of being the problem, and it kind of happened today as well, but this time you guys overcame it. Can you just kind of talk about kind of overcoming it in that second half?
Yeah, I thought we had the right intentions coming out, trying to play the right way, play with the right energy. I think it's in that third quarter, it came down to missing shots, and then they capitalizing on that. But I just liked our mentality and the way we stuck together and kept fighting and didn't cave in. In previous games, especially on this road trip, he talked about the big runs that teams went on, and us trying to kind of giving into it. And I thought tonight we did a great job of holding on to the rope, trusting one another, continuing to fight, continuing to make winning plays down the stretch of the game.
Norm, obviously Bam does so much more than scoring, but how good was it to see the ball go to the basket for him tonight? And what's been kind of your guys' message to him during this stretch of, where he's maybe not scoring up to his usual standards? Yeah,
obviously it's great. I thought he really got us going, start the game, in his aggressiveness and in his attacks and not turning down the open looks. And my message to him is to keep going. I told him even last game, it don't matter whether you make or miss, man. They're empty calories. You put the work in. If it's a good shot that you work on, if it's in and out, if you miss bad, whatever, it's the next one is always the best shot. I just told him to clear his head and just hoop. He know what he can do. We know the player that he is, and it's just clearing his mind and making the plays that are in front of him. You know, I thought he did a great job tonight of doing that, and then especially down the stretch, you know, taking the shots with confidence and believing in his work, and it definitely paid off. But I thought the energy and focus of him playing a pure game allowed him to do that. You know, the steal on the inbounds where you got the dunk, you know, the ball finds energy, the game finds energy, and he was able to capitalize on that.
Acknowledging that you and Tyler just really haven't had that much time on the court together so far, does it feel like, especially on a night like this when you both have good games, you guys are trending in the right direction in terms of your synergy together? Yeah, we're just going to keep working. You know, we're both confident, not only in our own abilities, but in each other. You know, we're talking to each other out the course of the game. We're talking to each other on the bench. When he was out, he was talking to me. When I've been out, you know, talking to him in the games that he's played. So, you know, we know what we both can bring to the table. But like you said, it's all about us, you know, getting comfortable and learning how each other plays, our spots, and how we can play off of one another with our skill set. But I think the more and more reps we get, the more and more practice time we have, and working the offense and getting us to our spots, it's going to just get better.
On that same note, you had two clutch buckets. It was both off the ball. One was a cut, one was a corner three. I guess just is that what you see, I guess, with that closing lineup specifically, that maybe a Time or Tyler that's on the ball and you can kind of be the guy off the ball where you guys could switch off? Just what do you like about that closing lineup? Yeah, this thing is so versatile. Like I said, like you can put Jaime in there, you can put me, Tyler, you know, and have a bunch of guys that can, you know, attack the paint, draw defense in, and make the plays out of there, whether that's for them to finish or kick out, you know. And I thought Jaime did a great job of cracking the paint, you know, and then it's on us to make the reads off the ball. But I think that's the versatility in our games. Like, we don't need the ball every single possession to be effective on the offensive end. We can play without the ball. We can play off of one another, play off of what the defense is doing and trying to take away based on who has the ball. And that's what our offense is for everybody. You know, tonight was me on the recipient end making those plays and hitting those shots, you know, but any given night it can be any one of us.
Last question. No, it was a very chippy game, obviously, and at one point where you and Dillon kind of got into it, Bam had to hold you. But just in general about how chippy it was, can you just kind of talk about the energy that kind of gives you guys? Yeah, I mean, we know what Dillon Brooks does. We know his antics. We know what he tries to do. You know, I've played against him since college. You know, I know how he is, you know, and I didn't feed into it for the majority of the game, you know, him trying to bump, hold, foul, talk. You know, I just ignore him. But when he pushed me, you know, that's when that was my line in the sand. But Bam held me back. We got the technical free throw, and we keep going. You know, he's going to beat him, and it doesn't really bother me no much.
Thank you, man. Thanks, man. Hey, guys, Tyler's almost ready, so if you all want to go down there. Thank you, Tim Donovan. Leading us right to exactly where we're headed. Tyler Herro, back in the 20-point scoring realm, finishing with 23. We will break down Tyler time when we return.